So this is going to be lesson 3, solving problems with ratios. When we do that, there are a couple of steps that we're going to do to ensure that we understand the problem. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find all of the important information. We're going to write that down so we don't have to continually look back up at the word problem. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to take all of that important information and we're going to incorporate it into our model. This third step I've added in because a lot of students aren't doing it. And that is that before you move on to solving the problem, you need to make sure that all of this important information is somewhere in the model. And then after you do that, you can start trying to solve the problem. So in this first problem, we're going to be using the whole to find one of the parts of the ratio. So the student to faculty ratio at a small college is 17:3. The total number of students and faculty is 740. How many faculty members are there at the college? So the first thing I want to do is write down the important information. The first thing that I notice is that the ratio of students to faculty is going to be 17:3. So I've written that down here. The next thing that I find important is that the total number of students and faculty is going to be 740. Now, right now, I don't see anything else in this problem because it's pretty simple. So the next thing I need to do is draw a model. So first, I'm going to start off by modeling my ratio with a tape diagram. So here, I have 17 students. To every 3 faculty members. And I'm going to put a little check mark by the fact that I just wrote down that information. The next thing that I need to show in my model is that the total number of students and faculty is going to be 740. So that means that this entire quantity here is going to be 740. And I'll put a check mark here to say that I've also put that in my model. So now that I've done everything, I need to go back and just double check. Have I put all my information in? I put a check mark by everything once I put it in my model so that I know that I'm done. 1 and 2. So now that I have the important information down, I'm going to start solving it. And I'm going to zoom out here just to give myself just a little bit more space. There we go. All right, so anytime we're dealing with ratios, you want to be thinking about what parts do I have, and then what does that mean for my whole. So I'm just going to write a 3-part ratio down really quick. So we know that we have students, faculty, and then I'm going to be dealing with the total, especially since that's the information that they gave us. So my students are going to be 17 for every 3 faculty members, and then that combined is going to give me my whole of 20. Now I can start thinking about what else do I know. So I know that the actual amount of the total is going to be 740. So I'm going to write that down here, 740. What I don't know is what the actual number of faculty is or the actual numbers of students are. But when I'm thinking about this, I know that my total is going to be split into 20 parts. So those 20 parts all have to be equal divisions. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide that 740 into 20 equal parts. So 20 will go into 74 3 times, which will give me 60. Subtract, and then 20 will go into 140 7 times. So now I know that each one of the parts of my ratio are going to be worth 37. So now I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to just label that in my ratio, and I'm going to pause the video so that I can do that. Zoom in. So now I've labeled my 37 in each part of my tape diagram. Usually when you get all of the parts figured out, what each section of your tape diagram represents, usually then it's pretty simple to figure out how to find the answer. So what we're trying to find is how many faculty members, I don't have my pencil, how many faculty members are there at the college. So let's look at our faculty here. Well, there are 3 sections of 37. So in order to find the total number of faculty members, it's going to be 37 times 3. So 7 times 3 is 21, carry your 2, that's 9, is 11. So there's going to be a total of 111 faculty members. And then I'm done. Now another type of problem that you can have is when they give you one of the difference of the parts and they ask you to solve for the ratio. So here, the ratio of number of adults to the number of students at the prom has to be 1 to 10. Last year, there were 477 more students than adults at the prom. If the school is expecting the same attendance this year, how many adults have to attend the prom? So let's start off by writing down the important information. The first thing I see is my ratio, where it says the number of adults to students is 1 to 10. Got that information down. And then the next thing is that there were 477 more students. There were more students than adults. All right, so now I want to draw my model. So first, the number of adults to students is 1 to 10, so I'll draw my tape diagram. So this is 1 adult to every 10 students. Now, labeling these is really important because the more complex they get, which they will get more complex, the easier it's going to be to get confused. So make sure that you're always labeling. All right, so I got that. Adults to students. Next, 477 more students than adults. So I'm looking for the difference between the students and the adults. So the difference is going to be here. And this is going to be 477. All right, got that in my model. Now go back and check. Have I put a check mark and used everything in my important information? Yes, I have, so I can start solving. Now, I know that the difference, which are going to be these 9 cubes, or 9 sections, 9 sections, have to represent the 477, and they have to be equal divisions. So I'm going to take 477, and I'm going to divide it by the 9 equal divisions. So 9 goes into 47 5 times. It's going to be 45. Subtract 2. And then 9 goes into 27 3 times. 27, no remainders. And you should never get remainders when you're dealing with ratios. You should never get a decimal if you're dealing with things like people, because it doesn't make sense to have a half question. All right. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put that in our model. Now, we know that if each one of these sections is going to be 53. And I'm just going to pause it so I can not waste your time. Now, I've gotten what the sections of my ratio or my tape diagram, what their value is. So now I'm going to go up and make sure that I can answer the correct question. How many adults have to attend prom? Well, that's pretty easy to see. It's just right there. So the answer is going to be that 53 adults have to attend prom. All right, let's get to the last question.